Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention 2025 in Bhubaneswar, says future is in teachings of Lord Buddha, not in war. California wildfires wreak havoc, thousands forced to flee, 5 deaths so far. New blaze in Hollywood Hills prompts mass evacuation. Officials warn the worst is still to come. Antony Blinken dismisses Trump's statements on Greenland, urges European leaders not to waste time contemplating on something that's not going to happen. France and Brazil voice concern over Meta's decision to halt US fact-checking operations. Meta oversight co-chair says hate speech can lead to real-life harm. Thousands protest in Venezuela opposing Maduro's inauguration as president. All right, first off, we are getting you these visuals from Bhubaneswar, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting the exhibitions at the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention. So these are the visuals we are getting you from Bhubaneswar, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is inaugurating the exhibitions at the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention, featuring the universal legacy of Ramayana, Diaspora's contribution to technology and Viksit Bharat, spread and evolution of Indian diaspora, heritage and culture of Odisha. So these are the visuals we are getting you from Bhubaneswar, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting the exhibitions in Bhubaneswar. So 4 exhibitions at the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention: Vishwaroop Ram, which is the universal legacy of Ramayana. The exhibition presents the timeless epic of Ramayana through a curated juxtaposition of traditional and contemporary art forms. And the second exhibition, Diaspora's contribution to technology and Viksit Bharat. This exhibition acknowledges the contributions of the Indian diaspora to the development of technology in the world. Third is spread and evolution of Indian diaspora in the world, with special focus on Manvi to Muscat. This exhibition showcases rare documents of people who had migrated from Manvi in Gujarat to Muscat in Oman. And the fourth is heritage and culture of Odisha. So the exhibition showcases the rich heritage and cultural traditions of Odisha through its different art and craft forms, and highlights its illustrious legacy. So PM Modi arrived at Janata Maidan this morning to inaugurate the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2025, and now he inaugurated the 4 exhibitions and visiting these exhibitions, taking a tour of various exhibition stalls showcasing union and state ministries and departments. So the first exhibition, like we mentioned, is Vishwaroop Ram, an exhibition showcasing various facets of Ramayana, drew significant attention during its pre-inauguration at the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas on Wednesday. While depicting various characters of the epic Ramayana, a script of the exhibition states Sri Ram, the perfect persona identified as a divine manifestation of Lord Vishnu himself, is at the center of Ramayana. the first ever written civilizational epic in Sanskrit. And this exhibition aims to highlight Ramayan's global resonance, illustrating how the ancient scripture has inspired scholars, poets, artists and devotees across regional and cultural boundaries. It showcases the epic's adaptations in various forms, spanning regions such as Southeast Asia, Africa and even Mexico, with notable influences seen in Java, Bali, Thailand, Sri Lanka and Cambodia. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Amritpal is there in Bhubaneswar. Amritpal, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting the exhibition. What more you can tell us?
Well, these exhibitions have been put up essentially to blend in with the theme of this year's Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and also the vision that India has to make them stakeholders in India's growth journey. The exhibition that the Prime Minister visited showcases how when Indians traveled abroad way back to Southeast Asia, centuries back, they took their culture, they took their language, they took their traditions, they took their religion to those places along with them. And they, of course, it got locally adapted, and that's why the kind of, artifacts that you saw there on display that the Prime Minister watched, which the ICSSR has gathered from all these countries, depict that how the essence of the Indian culture, the essence of the people, the religion of the people who migrated still persists with local adaptations. There are Ramayanas on display from Persia, written in Persian language, which have been brought from Iran, from Russia, from China, in Chinese languages. Now, it's very interesting that how this amalgamation of culture happens. And today, when the Pravasis come back, they bring a very different culture, but they connect between the Pravasis or the overseas Indians and their homeland remains. And today, here at the Pravasi Bharatiya, it is on full display. The Prime Minister also visited another exhibition called the Viksit Bharat exhibition, where it was showcased that how Diaspora's contribution to making India a developed country or a Viksit country persists. There was a huge lens, if you saw, the lens through which the world now views India, and in that the contribution of the diaspora has been immense. The Prime Minister, during the inauguration ceremony, during his inaugural speech, had urged the diaspora of all hues, youngsters, youth amongst them, the diaspora who migrated long back, the diaspora who are first-generation migrants, to come and contribute and be a part of the India growth story in whatever way they can be. If, asking them to come and invest in India, make most out of it as India grows, use their expertise in whatever field they have, medicine, arts, culture, technology, AI, as India grows. Or even if, come as a tourist. He flagged off the Pravasi Bharatiya Express, which will take the tourists to religious places and tourist places for 3 weeks. So it is essentially these exhibitions, Abhishek, depict how India is very connected with its diaspora and depicts the emotional connect, the present, the future, and of course how the past shaped where we've come. Abhishek.
Yes, Amritpal, he also suggested ideas also how diaspora can make its impact on different sectors, and diaspora contributing immensely towards country's growth. He said, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs, Amritpal. Earlier, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention in eastern India's Odisha. The Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention is the flagship event of the Government of India that provides an important platform to connect and engage with the Indian diaspora and enable them to interact with each other. The theme of this Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention is Diaspora's contribution to a Viksit Bharat. Addressing the gathering, PM Modi said, diversity lies in the heart of Indians.
हमें डायवर्सिटी सिखानी नहीं पड़ती, हमारा जीवन ही डायवर्सिटी से चलता है। इसलिए भारतीय जहां भी जाते हैं, वहां की सोसाइटी के साथ जुड़ जाते हैं। हम जहां जाते हैं, वहां के रूल्स, वहां के ट्रेडिशंस की रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं। हम पूरी ईमानदारी से उस देश की, उस सोसाइटी की सेवा करते हैं। वहां की ग्रोथ और प्रॉस्पेरिटी में कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं। और इन सब के साथ ही हमारे दिल में भारत भी धड़कता रहता है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said in 21st century India is progressing at an incredible speed and scale. He said the day will soon come when Indian diaspora will fly on Made in India plane to attend the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas.
भारत की प्रगति की गति सारे रिकॉर्ड तोड़ रही है। आज भारत मेड इन इंडिया फाइटर जेट बना रहा है, ट्रांसपोर्ट एयरक्राफ्ट बना रहा है, और वो दिन भी दूर नहीं जब आप किसी मेड इन इंडिया प्लेन से ही प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस मनाने भारत आएंगे। साथियों, भारत के ये जो अचीवमेंट्स हैं, ये जो प्रोस्पेक्ट्स आज भारत में दिख रहे हैं, इसके कारण भारत की वैश्विक भूमिका बढ़ रही है। भारत की बात को आज दुनिया ध्यान से सुनती है। आज का भारत अपना पॉइंट तो स्ट्रांगली रखता ही है, ग्लोबल साउथ की आवाज को भी पूरी ताकत से उठाता है। जब भारत ने अफ्रीकन यूनियन को G20 का परमानेंट मेंबर बनाने का प्रपोजल रखा, तो सभी मेंबर्स ने इसका समर्थन किया।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also remotely flagged off the inaugural journey of the Pravasi Bharatiya Express, a special tourist train for the Indian diaspora. The train departed from Nizamuddin railway station in Delhi and would travel to multiple destinations of tourism and religious importance in India for a period of 3 weeks. The Pravasi Bharatiya Express is being conducted under the Pravasi Tirth Darshan Yojana. And Speaker of Indian Parliament's lower house, Om Birla, has stressed that the Election Commission of India has an excellent track record of conducting free, fair, independent and impartial elections in the country. Om Birla stated this during his meeting with the Speaker of the UK's House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle, in London. Highlighting India's achievements as a parliamentary democracy, the Speaker said that despite the diversity, India has been successful in fulfilling the hopes and aspirations of different sections of society through parliamentary dialogues and discussions. He noted that the use of digital technology in Parliament has empowered legislators and helped them in discharging their parliamentary responsibilities more effectively. And the Speaker of Indian Parliament's lower house also met former UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in London. The two leaders exchanged views on a wide range of issues, including historical ties between the two nations, shared values of parliamentary democracy, impacts of IT, AI, social media, and the need to have appropriate laws to tackle such challenges. Birla thanked Rishi Sunak for his contributions in elevating India-UK bilateral ties. Om Birla also interacted with the members of Indian community in London. Speaking on the occasion, Birla expressed happiness that the members of Indian community have preserved the sentiment of Indianness within themselves. He also said the Indian diaspora serve as bridges in multifaceted relationship between India and the UK. Om Birla is on a 5-day official visit to United Kingdom, Scotland and Guernsey. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Chad army foils destabilization attempt as gunfire erupts near presidency. Trump pays tribute to Jimmy Carter ahead of national funeral. And NASA astronauts stuck on International Space Station say they don't feel like castaways.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. A fast-moving fire broke out in Hollywood Hills on Wednesday night, threatening one of Los Angeles' most iconic spots as firefighters battled to get under control 3 other major blazes that killed 5 people. The wildfires also put 130,000 people under evacuation orders and ravaged communities from the Pacific coast to inland Pasadena. At least 5 people have been killed in rampaging wildfires around Los Angeles, with firefighters overwhelmed by the speed and ferocity of multiple blazes. Up to 1,500 buildings have burned in fires, forcing over 100,000 people from their homes. Hurricane force winds whipped up fireballs that leapt from house to house in the upmarket Pacific Palisades area, incinerating a swathe of California's most desirable real estate favored by Hollywood celebrities. Los Angeles County Fire Chief Anthony Maroon said his crews were overwhelmed by the scale and speed of the unfolding disasters. The city of Los Angeles is also not out of danger as yet. Los Angeles Department of Water and Power Chief Executive Janice Quinones pleaded with people to save water after hydrants in Pacific Palisades ran dry. Joe Biden, who was in Los Angeles with California Governor Gavin Newsom, was briefed on what the president called an astounding situation. He pledged that the federal government would be available to help the area recover.
We're prepared for anything and everything as long as it takes to contain these fires and help reconstruct, make sure we get back to normal. It's going to be a hell of a long way. It's going to take time.
Having raised perhaps hundreds of multi-million-dollar homes, the Pacific Palisades fire looked set to be one of the costliest blazes on record. Wildfires are part of life in the US West and play a vital role in nature, but climate change is altering weather patterns. Southern California had 2 decades of drought that were followed by 2 exceptionally wet years, which sparked furious vegetative growth, leaving the region packed with fuel and primed to burn. Bureau Report, DD India. Moving on, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Wednesday rejected President-elect Donald Trump's idea about taking over Greenland. Addressing joint press conference with his French counterpart Jean-Noël Barrot in Paris, Blinken said that US takeover of Greenland will never occur.
We're stronger, we're more effective, we get better results when we're working closely with our allies, not saying or doing things that may alienate them. Having said that, it's the idea expressed about Greenland is obviously not a good one, but maybe more important, it's obviously one that's not going to happen. So we probably shouldn't waste a lot of time talking about it.
Now, Chad foiled an attack on Wednesday after unknown assailants opened gunfire near the presidential palace in the capital, N'Djamena. Gunmen launched an attack on the presidential complex on Wednesday, sparking a battle that left 18 attackers and 1 security personnel dead and several others injured. Chad's government spokesperson later said that situation at the presidency was completely under control. The incident comes 2 weeks after Chad held parliamentary elections, which were boycotted by the main opposition. Now, Venezuelans witness atmosphere of tension and uncertainty ahead of President Nicolas Maduro's inauguration on Friday. Former president and opposition's leader Edmundo Gonzalez visited Panama on January 8 and handed over copies of the election tallies published by them to be kept in the country's custody. Gonzalez is now on a regional tour to promote the opposition's cause and who is recognized by various countries as president-elect, including US President Joe Biden and now French President Emmanuel Macron. Maduro is set to be inaugurated for a third presidential term following a contentious election that has garnered both domestic and international criticism. Streets are flooded with protesters over Maduro's inauguration. Following the July 2024 election, Venezuela's National Electoral Council declared Maduro the winner despite never publishing the vote tallies. The opposition contested the result, proclaiming opposition leader Gonzalez as the victor, with claims that he had more than double the votes of Maduro. Now, US President-elect Donald Trump and his wife Melania Trump paid tributes to Jimmy Carter ahead of a national funeral. Former President Jimmy Carter's casket arrived at the US Capitol on Tuesday afternoon for a military tribute and to lie in a state in the US Capitol Rotunda, with lawmakers and members of the public invited to pay their respects. 2 US astronauts who have been stuck for months on the International Space Station said they have plenty of food and are not facing a laundry crisis and don't yet feel like castaways. Veteran astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams arrived at the ISS in June aboard Boeing Starliner spacecraft and were due to spend only 8 days on the orbiting laboratory.
Expedition 72.
Now, Meta founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg stunned many with his announcement that he was pulling the plug on fact-checking at Facebook and Instagram in the United States, citing concerns about political bias. Here's more.
Social media giant Meta scrapped its US fact-checking program for a community-based system and reduced the curbs on discussion around contentious topics such as immigration and gender identity. The move marks a reversal in Meta's policy, as Mark Zuckerberg has long championed active content moderation despite criticism from conservatives over alleged censorship on its platforms. Zuckerberg also slammed what he called censorship in Europe and Latin America, leaving many countries wondering if they will be next.
The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact-checkers and replace them with community notes, similar to X.
Meta's decision has drawn criticism worldwide. The announcement has raised alarms about the potential spread of misinformation and hate speech. One Brazilian Supreme Court justice has warned that social media networks will not be lawless land in Brazil after Meta's decision.
Here in Brazil, our electoral justice system and our Supreme Court have both demonstrated that this is a land that has law. Social networks are not lawless lands. They'll only continue to operate in Brazil if they respect Brazilian law, regardless of the bravado of irresponsible leaders of big tech.
The European Union also rejected Zuckerberg's charge that the bloc engaged in censorship with its tech regulations a day after Meta slashed its content moderation policies.
So in other words, we absolutely refute any claims of censorship on our side.
While campaigners against hate speech online reacted with dismay to the change, some advocates of the free speech have welcomed the news. Elon Musk praised the decision, while US President-elect Donald Trump also said that he was impressed by Zuckerberg's decision.
I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that.
Meta's fact-checking program has been operational in 26 languages, covering regions such as the US and the European Union. By withdrawing from this program in the United States, Meta risks setting a precedent that could influence policies in other countries where regulations on misinformation are being strengthened. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.